Well, welcome to my channel Mispronounced Adventures. My name's Alex and welcome to my 4x4 MAN TGE adventure van build series, where I'm building a van to replace my much loved Transit, which I've taken to the Arctic for the last 4 winters. Now, pretty early on in the van build series, and the job I need to do today is one of the more notoriously difficult ones, which is remove the headliner. You see on Facebook groups of people spending hours doing it and breaking a lot of clips along the way, but I have a secret weapon. Hopefully this video will help you remove the headliner. Why am I removing the headliner? Well, to insulate behind it. Whilst it's not a problem I've necessarily run into at the minute, quite a few people have mentioned that water can condensate on the metal behind this, and then you can have it running down the front of the van. And since I spend my winters living up in the Arctic, condensation and it freezing can be kind of a big issue. So I'll take the headliner down and insulate it. Now long term isn't for making the cab warmer, so I'm going to have a sliding door bulkhead anyway, so it's not to keep the back of the van any much warmer, but I want to do this early on because I've got a few other things I'm going to need to get down later on. Now, whilst there are lots of different steps, panels and bolts which need to be removing, this is a notorious job for some very particular clips which are very difficult to remove if you don't have the right tool. And I have the right tool. What is the right tool? So there is a very specific type of sunvisor clip which is quite difficult to remove. Now VW make an official tool which is quite expensive. However, this is Laser's copy and that is the tool number. I'll put some links in the description below regarding it. And this allows you to undo the clip, hopefully without damaging or breaking them, and put it back again. Now there are other types of flat pliers which you can buy which are significantly cheaper. This was about £35, but a few people who I know who have used say the cheaper ones don't necessarily work. They're not quite the right shape without modification. This I bought off Amazon, and I can clearly see someone else has bought this before, opened it, used it once, cable tied it back together, and then returned it to Amazon, which is the one I've ended up with. I am going to keep it because I'm sure I might need it in the future. Right, whilst we're up here, we'll get the first ones out, which are these cubby holes, which are just pulling. And then we can remove the whole faceplate. And just plastic clips. Start off easy. Right, next, sun visors. In there we've got a T27 Torx bit. And repeat for the other side. Next, this bit of trim. Right, trim clips just make this easy. These are just a set I bought from Halfords for a few pounds. And we're just gonna let this dangle because mine has microphones on it or sensors. Oh, and a free spider. There, my van came with a free spider. Next, lighting console in the middle. Again, just clips. Right, next, we have 2 bolts in here and in here. And they are a Torx 20 bit. I say bolts, actually they're screws. So this should now, with the help of this, there we go, pop out. And we are just going to unplug that cable and that cable. This clip's a bit awkward, but pushing it down then allows you to unclip it from the looks of it. There we go. Right, central console removed. That then reveals the next bolt up there. Although this could actually be removed in a later step, it's not important yet. T30. I'll be honest, I missed a screw. A third, deeper recessed screw next to one of the other holes, which I didn't quite get on camera. This should now allow this whole section to get popped off. Helps if you don't drop your trim clip. There we go. Right, now we can unplug this. Now we can get this section out. Bigger torque bit. Right, now the central section's freed. Let's start on the famously difficult clips. Right, let's pop off this cover. Now, this is an easy one to do. These are the known difficult clips. So let's get that out first. It's again just a T30. Right, let's get the secret weapon open. Oops. There we go, let's see if these are going to actually make my life easier. Just before we get the sun visor awkward clip, I'm just going to take down the grab handle, which has 1 bolt and another one of those awkward clips, which should free up the rest of the shelf because I don't want it clipping back in as I hadn't taken other things out yet. All right, let's get these ones off. Get another T30. It's another clip, there we go. So yeah, these ones work. Inside of that clip, open those up. So inside the clip, slide those above and below and then pinch down like that. That sort of brings in those teeth. And I'll repeat for the other side. There we go. And once again, so in the hole, slide between those two teeth. And then close. There we go, another one. Right, so now we can just watch me struggle. I think that's one. There we go. So when you look into the hole, that's my pliers, those shiny bits, and they go out. You put them in and widen them, and then they go the outside. Then to release the clip, clamp down on the pliers and put it out like that. Right, time to do it again. Like that. Right, D30. Probably need the light. Right, in the hole, widen. There we go. In the hole, widen, close. Easy peasy once you know how. Right, that should mean this is about ready to come off. Yep, there's just a clip here. All right, which means the final bit should be this little clip. Here we go, there is the parcel shelf down. And now there's a bunch of clips up here which you've got to not really do that. Loosen it from those front corners. There are some poppers here I didn't actually notice. Pop those poppers out, which I didn't see. They're just the sort that you can pop back in again. And now the clips here you've got to push forwards and drop it down like that. Nice. Those little tabs in there. Slide into there and you just push forward and it pops out. And that should be the headliner down. I think this extra cable is just because of my van's security system, not a factory option. Right, let's have a closer look. So, plan. Take off this factory insulation, insulate all this, try and cover all the bare metal. And whilst I'm in here, I'm going to run a piece of conduit from here, around the back, over to here. So when I want to eventually run some cable into here for my aux beam control panel, I can just push some cable through opposed to having to figure it out. And I'll probably neaten up all of my cables I've got over here as well. Even just working in here now, I can see how condensation could be an issue. It's already started to form there when it's not been forming in other parts of the van, so it's probably gets a little bit trapped behind that headliner. Yeah, quite a bit of condensation behind there. Well, it seemed from my last video with the Bluetti Apex 300, my little Aldi middle aisle dolly has gone down quite well. And Bluetti liked it again, because Bluetti is his video's partner. And working with partners like Bluetti, which I've done for a couple of years now, is how this channel funds most of its projects. And the Apex 300 is being pretty useful in the van build at the minute because, well, winter is here in the UK and I don't have the engine preheater or the diesel air heater in the van yet. So I've been using my 1500 watt electric heater, which I bought in the Arctic last year, to heat the van, which it does pretty well actually when the doors are closed. That being said, I do want a little bit more power. So I borrowed my Bluetti B300K expansion battery, which I usually leave at my mum's house, where the Apex 300 is used primarily in its domestic ability, charging off the solar shed and runs things like her air conditioning unit. But it's cold in the winter and I need it, so I'm temporarily borrowing it back. Bluetti have also recently brought out the B500K, which is just over a 5 kilowatt expansion battery, so I can have 2.7 kilowatt, 2.7 kilowatt, and then a 5 kilowatt expansion battery, all running at once, which nicely stack on top of each other, which gives me lots of runtime for the heater. But the main reason I keep using the Apex 300 is its versatility. It's the first power station can rival a traditional base electrical system. You've got the Bluetti Charger 1 alternator charger, you've got your solar imports, expansion batteries, a 3840 watt inverter, which is massive, but can pretty much run most of the things you want at once. But the most important reason that this is one of the first power stations which blurs the line between a power station and a traditional base electrical system in a camper van is the D1 hub. And the D1 hub has a 12 volt 50 amp output, which, as I showed in my review video, I ran my entire van's 12 volt DC side off the unit, running the engine preheater, the diesel heaters, and all of the internal lighting from the smart stuff and everything else. And the main purpose of this integration is Black Friday coming up, and the Apex 300, B500K, and pretty much the vast majority of the rest of the Bluetti lineup are on sale. So look in the link description below to find more information about the Bluetti sales, and specifically the Apex 300. That's all from me. Let's get back to the main video. Well, here's a bit of a different camera angle. So, insulation. I'm going to do a bunch of different videos throughout the course of the build on the different installation methods, but I am working with Dodo UK, who have supplied all the installation for my build. To do the headliner, I actually need to use about 3 different types. So I'm going to quickly talk through them now, but there'll be individual videos showing how I'm using them in the other parts of the van. First off, Dodo DEADN Pro, and that's going to be the sound deadening panels, which are going to go on some of the little sections of that. There are some already, but there's a lot of echo in the panels, so I'm going to do some little sound deadening on it. Behind me, I've got the Dodo Thermal Liner Pro 15mm version, which is going to do a lot of the installation in the van. And that is closed cell foam, which is going to be stuck onto the panels and covering as much of the metalwork as I can, so moisture has nowhere to condensate and run down. And that is going to be what the rest of the van is also going to be covered in. And then to top it off with some of the cavities, some of the thermal fleece liner as well. Dodo have sponsored this project for me, but there'll be individual videos showing how I'm going to do the floor, the wall and the ceilings and other areas properly individual for each component. Let's get started on the headliner. I've also been running the heater because this is already starting to condensate and I don't want any moisture on there whilst it's doing it. So let's get going. First off, I'm going to pull down this old insulation which came with the van and it's going to get completely covered. Well, it wasn't that it's stuck on great. The other bits, you can just put it on max and just melt it. Right, I'll do the other side. I mean, you can see right there it's important. So this area is all dry because I've got the heater on. This area, this pocket behind here is wet. And we'll just melt off the rest. Right, I'm not necessarily going to put loads on. I just want to put a panel here and a panel here. To do that, I'm just going to probably take a chunk out of that. There we go. I forgot to film putting it up. I also bought some rollers to help apply it. Don't know if this will do anything, but let's put some heat on it and see if it helps. Let's try for the other one down here. I mean, to me, sounds a bit better. Yep, doesn't sound as echoey. Deadening done. Time to do this one. Right, I've got, I think, 4 rolls of this for the rest of the van, so I don't need much for doing this bit. Shiny. Right, let's measure what we need. 73 by 93. And this is a 1 meter wide roll. I'm going to assume that these are centimeters. They are. So as long as I cut down their lines. Okay, that cuts remarkably easy. And I need to make this 93. That should be 7 then. Yeah. There we go. All right, let's test fit it out. Right, now let's get stuck it down. Now I've got a feeling this is going to be difficult. I feel like I want to get that bit in first. Might help if I warm the glue a bit. Well, I don't think that's too bad for my first attempt. Just because I know these areas down here are not stuck, I've got a bit of ply, and my plan is just to, okay. See, that's a bit stiff. This might work a bit better. I did just cut out a little middle bit as well, because that needs to go in this section. And I need to move the heater again, because this is starting to condensate over here. All right. There's that done. This is so much quieter. Right, let us open the last box. So this is Dodo Fleece Evo and this is 50mm insulation. Made from recycled plastic bottles. I feel this is going to be one of those things which is a bit like Pandora's box. It will never go back into the box it came from. I don't need a lot of this, I'm just going to stuff the cavity, so I'm just going to pull off some chunks. So a bit into this cavity as well. Well, there we go. Right, and that is going to be the installation done for the van's forehead. I'm going to go get some conduit and run it around here just so I have easy access to pull cables in the future. Just the cable ties and put it back. Now some people could put some of that Evo fleece on here. I don't really think I need it. It's going to get quite compressed when you put the headliner back on, which can defeat the purpose of it because the idea of that stuff is it lofts. And for me, I'm going to have the bolt head all cordoned off anyway with an insulated sliding door. So I'm not really worried about heat loss from the habitation area through the cab. So I'm quite happy that that is plenty enough, but so quiet now. Right, I best get putting the other bit back together. Conduit pipe just run, put there, going through to where those cubby holes were, and then I can just reach them from going under the headliner near the door jamb. I'm gonna turn the camera off and it's gonna all magically appear back to how it's meant to be. Little helpful bit of information when you're putting the headliner back. These clips which you originally pushed forward to unclip, here you've got to push forward. You don't need to do that on the action way out, just take them out, clip them back in, and then they push up. Like so. That is the end of the video. These are brilliant, and whilst they were £35, the fact that it made the second set after I knew how it worked, about 2 minutes to get the clip off, was worth it. I'm going to keep these because I'm going to probably end up helping someone or know someone I can lend them to. But if you want to find these, I can put a link in the description to put the Amazon and the numbers, and probably an eBay as well, which will be affiliate links. I'm now looking forward to putting the Dodo Thermal Liner Pro on because I'm quite impressed with it. But there's going to be a dedicated video of when I do the rest of the van. And more or less, I hope this has helped some people to get the headliner out. Not that difficult with the right tool for the awkward clips. The rest of it is just undoing bolts and redoing them up again and getting clips, but just use trim clip and not a screwdriver so you don't damage the plastics. If you've enjoyed this video, or you find some of my MAN/VW Crafter content useful, consider checking out some of the other videos on the channel. Or if you're really enjoying it, consider joining the memberships, or look at the description and you'll find plenty of other information. My brand ambassador for Autoterm, for their diesel air heaters and diesel water heaters. I work for Thermo, which is a UK lithium battery company, and I do their electrical design consultations for customers' camper vans. Amazon links and plenty more. But really, I just want to make content for you guys to enjoy. So thank you for joining me, and see you next time. Cheers, bye.